I asked him about it, and he said he was sort of hesitant. He said, "Gee, I don't know." He said, "You're doing pretty well right now in the movies," and he said, "You're at a point where if you got just the right break."
Hi, everyone, and welcome to yet another memorable video. Gunsmoke is among the most widely used and the greatest Western series ever, with its 20 years of history and legendary stars quickly become a fan favorite. Another name for James Arness is Matt Dillon. Was among those famous stars as well. Despite his high level of professionalism and benevolent to other cast members, there was one co-star with whom he didn't like working. What prevented him from being that co-star? Like collaborating with them and appearing in the film. As we discuss it and determine who James Arness, the sole co-star, is wanted to go. The program for a remarkable 20 years from Gunsmoke ruled supreme from 1955 to 1975 on television is the most beloved Western of all time, yet the airways were dominated by Westerns in the 1950s, their renown declined in the decades later, but Gunsmoke declined. To take a ride into the sunset alongside its captivating tales with a lot of depth, personalities and an unvarnished, genuine depiction, the show didn't depict life in the Old West. Simply endure, and it flourished week after week. Relatives congregated around their watching Matt Dillon on television enforced the law with composure and in steadfast belief in justice. As other genres gained notoriety, Gunsmoke continued to serve as a cultural touchstone. Benchmark for dramas in the West and a timeless piece that secures its place in the history of television, Gunsmoke wasn't merely a performance, but a pioneer that changed television as a whole. Before jumping, modestly, as a radio drama to television, where it continuously changed to keep viewers interested. Beginning as a black-and-white 30-minute program's rapidly increasing popularity requested more, the program grew to an entire hour in black and white, allowing viewers more time to get fully engaged yourselves in the tough Dodge world. As television in the city advanced, so did eventually Gunsmoke embraces full color, which introduced dusty plains and intense confrontations with life like never before, prior to any change being an intentional attempt to remain fresh and demonstrating that the secret of its remarkable 20-year run was a capability to change without losing its soul. Gunsmoke, through continuous reinvention, evolved into something more than a Western. Became a legend on television and one of the longest-running dramas with scripts in. Prior to Gunsmoke being a TV legend, established itself as an innovative radio drama from 1952 and 1961, is renowned for its realistic narrative and unwavering depiction of the Wild West. The radio program recorded the listeners' imaginations during the nation. When Gunsmoke took the step to TV in 1955, producers made a daring move by maintaining the radio version for 6 more years. Of this uncommon dual presence permitted Gunsmoke to rule both the small screen, cementing and the airwaves its status as a genuine form of entertainment. The radio show's pioneer didn't merely motivate the TV program, it established the basis for its intricate narrative and genuine setting that guarantees the heart and the Gunsmoke's soul are still whole. In both formats, William Conrad's rich, authoritative voice brought life to Matt Dillon, Marshall, during Gunfire Radio Day's portrayal of the grimness and, however, the frontier lawman's authority. When the program made the switch to television, according to the producers, Conrad's their vision wasn't aligned with looks. Instead, they looked to the Dillon on television. To James Arness, whose massive physique and the heroic was personified by rugged good looks. Image they desired, the choice turned out to be a masterpiece that is recognizable. Matt Dillon's portrayal made him among the most well-known and adored figures in the history of television. Conrad's ability and adaptability displayed elsewhere, as he later experienced a prosperous career in both television and movies, demonstrating the breadth of his star power outside of radio. Gunsmoke was threatened in 1967 by cancellation following over 10 years as a CBS powerhouse in prime time is keen to first create space for new programming intended to bring the beloved Western to a close, but when news broke, fans were furious. They flooded the network with correspondence, with demonstrations calling for the exhibition to continue the air, including senior executives from CBS who had a sentimental connection to the series united in a startling turn of events to support it. The network made the decision to halt Gilligan's Island rather than shielding the Gunsmoke from the after that, chopping block moved the performance to Monday evenings, when it's not only survived and prospered as a result of this choice, emphasized Gunsmoke's enormous cultural influence and demonstrated that an ardent fan base could influence the television's future with an amazing 20 seasons with 635 episodes. Gunsmoke was the one with the most any prime-time shows written for decades. This remarkable accomplishment remained uncontested until in 2018. The Simpsons became a cultural juggernaut is renowned for its clever interpretation of by now, modern American life has outperformed it. Over 700 episodes of The Simpsons have been shown throughout over 30 seasons, although the legacy of Gunsmoke is still paralleled. Although The Simpsons depicts modern Gunsmoke's comedy portrayed, the rough viewers may experience the spirit of the Old West. Compelling tales of survival and justice. Its durability in an era with significantly less television alternatives demonstrate its effectiveness and popularity, ensuring the location of Gunsmoke's a smoke.er and a timeless representation of in terms of primetime television. Casting Marshall, a steadfast Dodge City Hollywood legend. John Wayne was Matt Dillon. A top Dillonist, but the Duke declined a key position, unwilling to endure the demanding pace of a timeline for television production. Wayne continued to believe in Gunsmoke and lent his celebrity status by starring in a unique introduction to the pilot episode, a recommendation that aided the show make a show them how to impression from the very beginning. Whereas his backing provided Gunsmoke with an early boost, James Arness was the one who eventually laked into Dillon's boots. Not only claimed the part as his own, but also created a performance so legendary that it was on par with Wayne's iconic on-screen persona. Ensures his prior position in television history. James Arness rose to prominence on Gunsmoke. Marshal Matt Dillon Wadalonro on the battlefield in real life. Enlisted in the United States Army and Arness served with the 3rd in 1943. Division of Infantry during World War II, participating in the ruthless Allied assault of Annio, Italy. In days of the campaign, he suffered serious injuries from an injury caused by German machine gun fire abandoned him and cost him a portion of his foot. Months in the hospital for his courage. The Bronze Star went to Arness and Purple Heart prior to being honorably discharged. These experiences from the war created a lasting impression on him, establishing a calm fortitude and tenacity that he later fed into his depiction of Matt Dillon's courage in real life, and sturdiness served as the cornerstone of the famous lawman. Crowds would arrive to stand and cherish James Ares's scars from battle didn't only mold his, they also had an impact on his character. Work on the injuries caused by Gunsmoke endured throughout World War II, especially to his feet and knees, made him uncomfortable for the rest of his profession in acting. To alleviate his physical stress that the production crew experienced careful alterations to the set scenes needing a lot of walking or physical. Early in the day, action was planned morning before the discomfort became too intense. In spite of these difficulties, depiction of Marshal Matt Dillon stayed unwavering in his commitment to the duty. In conjunction with the crew, scheduling made sure that his performance remained constant. Like Dillon's steadfast determination to enforce the law, Ares's capacity to endure his suffering showed the same dirt and decision that resulted in both the actor and the figure that has been iconic for 16 seasons of the town's beloved Gunsmoke. Doctor, simply referred to as D-Doc, continued to be a mysterious man without a first name. The talented Melbourne Stone performed. Doc became a mainstay of the show, providing a balance of medical knowledge and rough appeal, but in the background, the authors left a fascinating detail. What to name him, trusting is still up for debate. That nobody was more familiar with the character. Compared to Stone, they provided him with the honor of selecting the name drawing the ancient Greeks served as an inspiration. Dr. Galen was a pioneer in medicine. Galen was chosen by Science Stone as a suitable homage. The name was added. Character depth, but also represented the historical personality's enthusiasm and eye intelligence, providing visitors with a fresh dimension to the individual who had before the unwavering healer of Dodge City. During the penultimate season of Gunsmoke's youthful Gary Busey left a lasting impression on he portrayed Harv Daly in the renowned series. A part in the third-to-last episode that would be included in the history of Gunsmoke in a poignant and dramatic time, Di became the last person to be killed. On the program commemorating an important significant event in the lengthy legacy of captivating narrative, Di's potent performance not only gave him more depth, but expanding resume, but also connected him enduringly to one of the most renowned shows. His depiction of every day acted as a moving reminder of the show's distinctive combination of action and poignant drama that provides a suitable honor as Gunsmoke approaches the conclusion of its remarkable run. From the first episode, the tone was created by Gunsmoke within Marshal Matt Dillon's iconic picture engaging in a heated gunfight with a rival for this IC opening drama caught the peril of living in Dodge City and emerged as one of the most iconic images. But as the 1970s approached, American perceptions of violence in the media started to change with increasing anti-violence pressure campaigns. Television networks were asked to respond by softening their content. Its traditional gunfight was replaced by Gunsmoke introduction with a quieter start sequence as the modification was reflected changing cultural norms, but it didn't reduce the show's core by keeping true while adjusting to the times. To its basic ideas of Gunsmoke shown its tenacity, showing once why it continued to be a popular staple in American homes for 20 years. Gunsmoke opening credits where Matt Dillon, a marshal, confronts a gunslinger, who was unknown, became one of the most famous scenes in the history of television. Sharply, viewers may detect a hint of the showdown is recycled by Hollywood. The same dusty street that was used in the traditional Western high noon, with the addition of a small dose of cinematic nostalgia for the present. Despite the seriousness of the event on film Backstage, James Arness brought a fun attitude when filming. In one jokingly, he allowed the gunman to win, causing the actors and staff to have fits of laughing. This playful moment lasted, contrasting sharply with Dillon's rough and stoic persona, providing an insight into the friendly companionship on the set of Aries' amiable disposition. Miss Kitty Gunsmoke considered Russell to be among his most fascinating personalities. However, her past experienced a minor change when the program shifted from on the original radio to television. In the radio show, Kitty was presented as a professional, madam, an addition that layers to her personality, yet she was still an open secret. But TV in the 1950s had more stringent content regulations. Rules, and network executives were dedicated to maintaining Gunsmoke's family-friendly continue to be widely popular as a Kitty's history was softer as a result, and the profession was minimized on the screen. She developed into a well-respected and entrepreneur who operated the Long Branch, this charming and independent saloon. Kitty's transformation not only increased relatable to viewers while also guaranteeing the event has the potential to captivate audiences of all ages without controversy. In spite of Amanda's change, Blake's affable and lively performance maintained Kitty is a cherished and vital component of James's Gunsmoke legacy. Is well known for his composed and expert manner while Marshal Matt Dillon was smoking a pistol, and the majority of his co-stars, with the exception of for one tension behind the scenes simmered between Amanda Blake and Arness, who portrayed Dillon's romantic partner in the Kitty. Russell is the proprietor of Long Branch Saloon. While their chemistry on screen captured people's tension on a personal level, disagreements and conflicts of creativity allegedly caused conflict between the two performers. Even if Blake is crucial to the show in her standing as a favorite among viewers in private, Arness stated that he preferred that she quit the show. Their tumultuous relationship added an fascinating aspect about the Backstage narrative of one of the greatest. Despite their fondness for westerns, Blake was a vital component of Gunsmoke for 19 seasons prior to finally leaving on our own Wowards, reading an enduring impression on the rich legacy of the show, while Amanda the way Blake portrayed Miss Kitty Russell became famous. But she wasn't the first. Selection for the part in the first place belonged to Polly Bond, an actress. Experienced entertainer from the entertainment industry family that had already became well known in westerns by the age of 11, but Bond declined the chance to concentrate on her personal. Blake's door being opened by life after she assumed the part of Blake changed Miss Kitty to become one of the most adored characters on television. Charm, humor, and depth of feeling brought a distinct vitality to Gunsmoke, demonstrating that there are instances when fate has a greater plan. Then started as a casting twist and developed into a characteristic of the show's lasting as Gunsmoke approached its last phase, legacy decade. James Aries' old told the number of battlefield injuries increased. Apparent years of combined wear and tear with excruciating arthritis appeared on the show's lengthy and difficult days of filming, significant obstacle to reducing his discomfort. The production crew modified the shooting schedule for the scenes in Aries in daily blocks that give him vital time to recuperate and rest. In spite of the commitment of pain, Aries never faltered. Kept on delivering. The authoritative fans' unwavering performances grow to appreciate his perseverance. His physical restrictions not only maintained while still alive, Gunsmoke solidified his reputation as one of the most enduring and well-liked CEOs. When silently, Gunsmoke came to an end and fans of the 1975 faced a bittersweet truth. No grand farewell would be held for the cherished series following 20 seasons as the foundation of American television, including a show con without the creators being aware that it was the last chapter, in contrast to contemporary shows that create poignant, meticulously prepared endings. Gunsmoke just concluded with a typical episode, leaving readers with unfinished storylines yearning for resolution. In spite of the lack of saying a formal farewell to the legacy of the show stays intact despite innumerable the enduring characters and replays that led to the death of Dodge City. Smoke has a timeless quality. Reminder of the heyday of television and Glenn Strange, the power of a great story. Most famous for being Sam, the devoted bartender at Warmth, was provided by the Long Branch Saloon. And amusement to Gunsmoke's frequently coarse. His representation of the world gave the ensemble cast and won him a devoted following. Figure among followers prior to participating in the Hollywood production of Strange was amazing. Portraying the iconic role of Frankenstein's monster in a number of vintage movies, like as eventually, Smoke would be his last part. As he continued to appear on the show until his dying in 1973, during his career his tenure at Dodge spanned several decades. City that had an influence that lasted as an essential component of the Gunsmoke family. In Glenn, a gifted character actor, the legacy of Strange in film and television is cherished by supporters in the similar to the entertainment sector. When the abrupt cancellation of Gunsmoke in not just the fans were involved in 1975. The cast was equally taken by surprise. Unlike today's meticulously planned finales, the program ended abruptly without warning. The majority of the actors discovered the news that comes through rather than from the creators. According to media reports, James Arness is the face of Gunsmoke was first discovered due to commerce. The story had already been revealed in journals. The abrupt and inconsiderate the cast and crew were left in the event of cancellation. Reeling, signifying a bittersweet end, become one of the most popular shows on television. And despite the sudden conclusion, westerns, the legacy of Gunsmoke endured on its personalities and narratives that keep engage audiences across generations. Gunsmoke's last episode in 1975 didn't mean that its legendary run was over. The beloved from 1987 to 1994 Western came back with 5 TV-ready. Gunsmoke returns to avoid him in the movies. The final Apache Gunsmoke to the final individual Gunsmoke 1 and Gunsmoke The Long Ride. These movies, Man's Justice, brought the cast and return dust fans to the Dodge City streets in the center of James Arness was among them all, and once again donned his insignia to perform the famous Marshal Matt Dillon, even though the movies might not been widely criticized, for they received praise and provided a nostalgic continuance of the show, providing viewers with a sincere opportunity to go back to the world, the figures they loved for so long. Years prior to James Arnest's rise to Marshal Matt Dillon, a television icon, he lived as a hero on the battleground in 194 before World War I. Ares bravely served throughout World War II he was in Italy at the Battle of Annio. Shot in the foot and lower leg for his courage, he received both the bronze, returning home with the Purple Heart, and the star, not only as a prospective actor but also as a honored combat hero. But the injuries wounds that never completely healed, resulting in arthritis and persistent pain that would track him over the course of his life. These wounds caused by Gunsmoke hampered his capacity to shoot for extended periods of time, hence his early in the day, walking scenarios were planned. Despite the physical toll, the day's grit and determination were evident, both off-screen and on-screen, solidifying his legacy as a hero in multiple ways.